Very much. Let's dig a little bit deeper now with Democratic Congressman and U.S. Senate candidate Kendrick Meek of Florida. He's here in the Situation Room. Congressman, thanks very much for coming in. Do you agree that we are a nation of cowards, essentially, words of the Attorney General Eric Holder, when it comes to discussing race?
Well, it's been a very difficult question for the country for a very long time. We have a country of race and religion, and we have a lot of folks that live differently, and we don't understand one another like we should. This particular incident that has taken place over the last 72 hours is a perfect example of how the country is so focused on this issue. There's a lot of curiosity there. Discussion is important. We passed the financial reform, the largest sweeping financial reform bill in almost the history of the country, and this has taken the headlines.
It's such a powerful story when you get to speak to Shirley Sherrod, as I did today. She's an amazing woman, and she was, by all accounts, and I think you agree, she was wrong.
There are a number of Americans that atone every day on this issue of race, talking about how they have changed in their attitude towards other racial groups, even gender. And I think it's healthy when we see this kind of story take place, when you have a right-wing group that tries to separate and divide, and to see us now come back together, understanding now we know the truth. She was basically talking about her experience and how she's changed.
You know, Tom Vilsack, the Secretary of Agriculture, you can see he's been meeting with members of the Congressional Black Caucus. You're a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, explaining what happened. They want to learn lessons. This has not been a pleasant experience for Tom Vilsack, for officials at the White House, I'm sure from the president on down, for leaders of the NAACP. And you know, I want to listen a little bit into what some of your colleagues at the Congressional Black Caucus are saying. They're there with Tom Vilsack. I think they're getting ready to speak. Barbara Lee, the Congresswoman. Now, let's listen in a little, and then we'll discuss, Congressman.
Sure.
Ruling period for Mrs. Sherrod, also for the Congressional Black Caucus, for the country, and, of course, for the Secretary. We asked the Secretary to come visit with us. We wanted to talk to him about what transpired. Of course, you all have our statement earlier. We indicated that we wanted him to ask Mrs. Sherrod come back to the Department of Agriculture in a position of empowerment. We asked also that an apology be made, and that we believed that he acted too quickly and that he did not have all of the facts. The Secretary very quickly responded. He's talked to many members of the Congressional Black Caucus. He came to our meeting. He has issued an apology in a very real way. We accept his apology. He has talked to Mrs. Sherrod, and I'm sure he will talk to you later about that conversation. And we talked about the fact that this really should be a moment that we look at the Department of Agriculture and all of the issues, the historical issues that have been not addressed, and which he is trying to address in terms of discrimination, in terms of land-grant colleges, funding for our historically black colleges and universities, the Pickford lawsuit, the black farmers issues, all of those issues which Mrs. Sherrod understands and has a keen sensitivity to because of her life and what she has experienced through her life. The Secretary understands that very clearly. He apologized. He indicated, and when one makes a mistake, we expect an apology, and he did that. And we told him that we look forward to working with him as we begin to move forward. This is a moment that our nation needs to really understand that we have to begin to discuss race. We cannot believe that this is a post-racial era. In many ways, race has been swept under the rug, and we're trying as a Congressional Black Caucus to have this conversation, and we think that the Secretary will be a good partner with us in this conversation as we move forward. And we thank you very much for being here, and I want to thank all of the members of the Black Caucus for coming, and thank the Secretary for being with us and for being so candid. It was a very good meeting, and we really believe that Mrs. Sherrod deserves our respect. She deserves our applause. Her life now has become very public, and her history is one that I hope the entire country will look at in terms of a history of transformation and redemption, which we all can learn from. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Secretary Vilsack, is there some sort of holdup?
That's Barbara Lee. She's the leader of the Congressional Black Caucus, the Congresswoman, making a strong statement. We're back with Kendrick Meek. He's a member of the Congressional Black Caucus as well, running for the U.S. Senate from Florida. He's a Democrat, as we know. I guess the major lesson all of us have to learn is don't believe everything you see on the internet. And if you see something, investigate, do due diligence, vet it completely before you jump to any conclusions.
Verify, verify, verify. I couldn't help, Wolf, but see in the background John Lewis, who came to this city, Washington, D.C., as a civil rights activist with black and with white and Jews and all, trying to bring about the kind of harmony that we need as a country to move forward. The fact that he's lived long enough to continue to see the changes in this country, today is another change as it relates to how we look at this issue of race. I think the administration want to protect all Americans and making sure that no one in this administration would discriminate against anyone. The issue of the black farmers has been raised and now it's being dealt with. Secretary Vilsack is dealing with that very issue. The issue of making sure that no one is stepped upon, to find that white farmer who said, if it wasn't for the work that she did, I would have lost the farm. And he's a veteran. And what better voice to have? I think this is a moment for the country that we all learn what we should do, and we should not allow the few that are not carrying the intentions of goodwill to dictate the dialogue in this country.
You're running against Marco Rubio, the Republican candidate, Charlie Crist. He's now the independent candidate. You want to be the Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate. Has the issue of race at all come up over these many months that you've been running?
Well, it's been raised by reporters, and I feel that Florida is a state of people of goodwill. We've elected women, we've elected Hispanics, we've elected President Obama. I believe that I will be elected as the next United States Senator based on my qualifications. We know that there are some people in our society that will never vote for a woman, that will never vote for a person of color. I feel that there are more people in the state of Florida that are willing to look at me as a former state trooper, as a member of the legislature, and a productive member of Congress that will work towards some of the issues that are facing Florida. And
I want to bring you back, and I want to go through some of those issues like oil drilling off the coast of Florida and many of the other key issues. Unfortunately, we've run out of time right now because of the breaking news. But you understand the nature.
Absolutely. I look forward to coming back.
We had Marco Rubio on the show yesterday. We've also invited Charlie Crist to come on as well.
Wonderful.
We hope to have him as well. And then maybe one of these days, all three of you will come on together. We do a nice little debate on the issues facing the voters in Florida.
Sounds great.
Thanks very much for coming in.
Wolf.